I was always on the search for soul. I realized that it was my ancestry that I was looking for. Ancient Egyptians were black. This is part of my heritage, so let me dive deeper into that.
And when you find yourself and your soul, you do look crazy to the outside world. They're like, because you're not following a path that is laid out for the masses. You're like, you literally have your own road. It's like,
I remember learning about the atrocities of slavery because you don't learn that stuff in the Caribbean. They just say, oh, slavery happened, and that's it. They just gloss over it.
This is my message to you. Your energy is infinite.
Yo, welcome to Living Good with Dom. I am here with a very good friend, Shakasis, Sharaka. You have a couple names, but I'll let you introduce yourself. I'm in the heart of Brooklyn in Bed-Stuy, and this is one of the princesses, one of the queens of Brooklyn. I met Sharaka back in D.C., but really met her at Howard. Really met her in Brooklyn. And this is one of the people who are instrumental in my Brooklyn experience. Like you, with being tapped into the Brooklyn culture, being tapped into the folks who had a black consciousness and on a spiritual level and a social level, seeing her raise kids, seeing her be an artist, seeing her be an entrepreneur, seeing her be a community member. It's been really epic seeing your journey, and I'm just massively excited to talk to you. I don't know where this is gonna go.
It could go in many different directions.
Yeah, but I know it's gonna go. You know what I mean? So, how's life? Let's start there.
Life is good. I'm in a wonderful place.
Okay.
Just feeling in such a place of just abundance and gratitude at this point. Yeah.
Why?
Things are slowly starting to manifest and unfold the way that I envisioned it. You know, like I'm not struggling anymore. Let's just say that I'm not a struggling artist anymore.
I think earlier you said I'm living a soft life, a semi-soft life. Semi-soft life. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And my children are thriving. So,
they are thriving.
So I'm in a good place. I think I did good.
No, you did an amazing job. Sasa, Nunu. I just met Chet for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, he's beautiful.
He's something else.
Yeah. And you had him later in your life.
Yeah, like 39.
39. Okay, that's 39. Not that much later. So, okay. We were talking yesterday.
Yeah.
And we got on a topic of like parenting, a topic of creating, topic of purpose. I've been playing with this idea lately of purpose-centered parenting. Okay. That's what I've been calling it. Mm-hmm. I was talking to one of my homegirls back in D.C. and she was like, she said something interesting. I know she meant it with a different kind of depth or perspective, but the way I took it was how I took it. But she said, I don't think parenting is my purpose.
Ooh.
And she didn't say it with like any malice or like non-love. It was just like, I thought once I had this child, all I was going to want to do is be a mother. And now that all I'm doing is being a mother, that it's not fulfilling completely. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I mean, it's never gonna be. It's never gonna be because, they're part of your purpose. They're part of your journey. Children help grow you. Like I always say to Noir, you made me a woman. Like you helped me to become a woman because I managed to accomplish things with you that I never ever thought I could. And so they're part of the journey, but you have your own dreams, you have your own aspirations, so they're part of the journey, but not exactly your purpose. Just them, just that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What and we've been talking a lot about purpose and how to get there, how to continue it. What has it been like on your third child and activating and continue your purpose now? Do you still feel the same vigor and drive for it? Did it transform?
It transformed more so because now I know that I have the capacity to do it. Right? Before, when, I was struggling with two young girls, it was like trying to figure out how I'm going to feed them. Trying to figure out, how I'm going to make sure that they get the right stuff in them, they're fed, they're clothed, they're going to a school that's going to nourish them. So now it's like, okay, I have all these tools, been there, kind of done that, and I'm empowered even more to go after the things that I've been saying that I wanted to do that I couldn't do, just focusing on children. Now it's more of a focus on me.
Okay.
Even though I'm still present with them, very present with them.
Yeah, they love you so much.
Yeah.
Sasa was over you yesterday, just mommy.
Just
Grown
hug.
7. How old is she? 17?
She's 60.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she loves her mom. Like, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You said something. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
You said put them somewhere in the school that's gonna nourish them. You were one of the first people I've met who were literally. You practice a level of spirituality, wellness, that was fully comprehensive. It was like food, whatever substances. Like you weren't the first people I know who didn't smoke or drink. Like you was like, I drink tonic. I'm like, what the fuck is a tonic? You feel me? Like I was new to that. I'm like, tonic. Like you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't none of that. And you was turned. Like I say turned in a good way. Like you dancing the life of the party. I'm like,
yes,
yo,
baby.
she is up. Like don't do nothing. I'm like, and then from the food, you were one of the first vegans I met up close.
Right.
You got homies who are vegans, but when you know somebody, how we know each other, I'm like, oh, she's like vegan all the time.
Like
it's
not half the time.
Not half the time, you feel me? And then like your community was like that too. I'm like, these black folks on some other shit. Like they don't. It was like honestly, it was like a culture shock. So
really,
yeah, it was like, cause to see one or two people do it, you know what it is? The culture shock was. I've seen white folks in very granola type hippie folks do like that kind of lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't meet folks who were like cool, hella black, swaggy, like hella dancing. The people who you would be in the party like, yo, they getting it, and they all vegan. They all, you know what I mean? They all on a different level of like understanding of themselves. And I was like, this is mad interesting. You feel me? So.
I mean,
so
for me, it didn't even start just with my community now. Like, that whole vibe started with me being under the tutelage of Queen Afua. You know, so we had, like, dope-ass events like Holla Black. We would go to Holla Black. There would be open mics and then dancing afterwards, and there was raw food downstairs, and we were turned. Like, we had the best. Like, I mean, it was a time of my life.
Okay.
And, yeah, that was the culture. It was like, we don't drink, we don't smoke. We have a good time, and we're conscious, and it's all love. It's all love.
How did you? Queen Afua has made a comeback in this season.
Yeah,
she's always been in our world. She's always been it. You know what I mean? But to the masses, she has like reappeared with a level of like, I'm ready to give the wisdom again. And people are like, I've seen younger women with the book,
Sacred Woman.
Sacred Woman. You feel me? I see her on podcasts now. I see her like in little clips. I'm like, Queen Afua, she got a second win. Yeah. At least to the public, she had a second win. How did you come into contact, and what was that like? How old were you when you were part of her community?
I was one of the youngest people. I was 17 years old.
Okay.
Okay. I had moved out my mother's house and.
At 17?
Yeah.
Okay. In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah, okay.
And I started dating this young man, and he brought, and I had read Heal Thyself.
Yeah, okay.
Her first book.
Yeah, you read okay. The purple one.
Yeah, the purple one. Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't purple back then.
Oh, okay.
With that's the new cover. That's the rebrand.
Okay.
I think it was green. Yeah, it was a green book.
Okay.
And then I read Heal Thyself, and I met this guy, and then he took me to one of her lectures.
Oh, she had lectures.
She had lectures at her temple, Smaitawi, on Kingston Avenue.
Okay. Say it slower for us who are hearing it for the first time.
Smaitawi on Kingston Avenue in Brooklyn.
Okay, and that was her temple.
That was her temple.
And was she like massively popular back then?
I mean, with the cultural black folk.
Yeah.
she was popular.
She's like, we rock with her.
But I mean, you know, people would, like, famous people would come to her to heal, like, if they had, like, really extreme situations. Like they would come to her to get herbs or to get healing.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Queen of Fua to me was always very popular. But at that time, when I got there, Sacred Woman was not out yet.
Okay. Okay. Oh, so the first book you're talking about is not Sacred Woman, it's another book.
No, the first book was Heal Thyself.
Oh, I see. I'm confusing the book covers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Heal Thyself was a smaller book, and it was a green color. Yeah. Yeah. So I went in there, and like I was like, wow.
Yeah.
These beautiful. I was like, this is home. This is like.
Yeah, it
this
feels like
is so
home.
home to me. And yeah, I went in there, meat eater. I left there. I had a Last Supper.
Yeah. Oh, you had Last Supper?
I had some oxtails, some mac and cheese, and then the next day I was vegan.
Oh, okay.
And that's not how you're supposed to do it. Do not do this at home, okay?
It's like, don't cold turkey it.
No, because you shock your body. I shocked my body. So my body was releasing toxins like all over the place. So my skin started erupting. It was crazy because I went that route instead of easing into it. And then I was around the temple for a very long time. I actually went on tour with Queen of Fua.
Oh.
Through the Sacred Woman Village.
Okay. Tell me about that. What is Sacred Woman Village?
So,
I know we're taking little detours here, but I think
we're taking detours.
Yeah, but this is good. This is good.
No, so she started doing the Sacred Woman Rites of Passage.
Okay.
Right? And I was around, but then finally I decided to take the class. I didn't really have the money at the time because I was young, you know. Finally I saved and then I took the class. And then, you know, I was just myself. And then one day she tapped me on the shoulder. She was like, you need to come, you know, to these rehearsals that we're having on the side.
Okay, pull up. Yeah.
Pull up. So then I started going to the rehearsals and we would do Dance of the Womb.
Oh.
We would rehearse Dance of the Womb. We would do it in different universities. We actually did it at Howard.
Oh, that's cool.
That was my first time
That's cool.
at Howard.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it all over. Went on tour doing it. And
what was Dance of the Womb supposed to do?
Dance of the Womb is like healing exercises, movements, yoga movements, breathing techniques, and dance that helps rejuvenate your womb space. Right? So it's like medicine. It's like, you know, you got to move your body. You got to move your body, otherwise, you know, things will get stagnant. That's like chi. You got to move the chi around.
You got to move the chi around.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that was a little caveat. I forgot what the original question was.
The original question was, how did I begin, you know, hanging with Queen of Fua? What was that like? So that was the beginning of that.
That's cool. Okay. That's interesting to me, just knowing your journey from that point. So the information you learned from Queen of Fua at that point in time, aside from the diet, how did it shift you in the worldview and how you were moving in the world? How did it shift you?
So I grew up very Christian, very Catholic.
Okay.
But I remember just wanting more. Like I remember just always wanting more, like trying to find a different church other than the Catholic Church. I'm like, this is boring as hell. Let me find.
Gotta be another way.
So I would go to my friends' churches that were a little different, that a little bit more soulful. I was always on the search for soul. And I'm like, okay, like, but it was something just innately in me as a child. I just wanted soul. And then I realized that it was my ancestry that I was looking for. It was my, you know, my past life principles, you know, and spiritual practices that I was searching for.
I like how you said that, past life principles.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's already in us.
Yeah.
Whatever we're searching for is already there. We trying
The
to recover
memories
it.
in our DNA.
Yeah,
It's
like,
our DNA. And
I
it's
know
like,
I'm supposed to be doing something. This is different. Okay.
Yeah. So then grew up Catholic and was Seventh-day Adventist, joined the gospel choir, was doing all of that. And basically when I got to Queen of Fua, I started gaining even more of like, oh, ancient Egyptians were black. And, you know, and this is part of my heritage. So let me dive deeper into that.
Because Queen of Fua also derives her practices from a Kemetic lens.
Yeah.
Okay. That's beautiful. What was it like? What was it like to? Was there any wrestling between the Christianity culture and the Kemetic culture, like internally? Were you like, oh, am I going off path? Is this wrong? Is this right?
Hell no.
Was it?
It was so easy. You know why? Because when I got to high school, I remember learning about the atrocities of slavery. Because you don't learn that stuff in the Caribbean. They just say, oh, slavery happened, and that's it. They just gloss over it like,
I be wondering sometimes, because when I meet black folks from other nationalities besides America, sometimes it's like slavery isn't exactly weighted the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and also, we kicked the white folks out. Like, they kind of left, so we didn't have to deal with them the way in America y'all have to deal with them. You know, it's a constant oppression, a constant trying to push down here. Like, in the islands, you know, they dangle from afar and, you know, do the puppet master thing from afar, so they're not in your face.
Yeah, here it's like...
Yeah, it's dead smack in your face.
She's like, dang, got my neck.
Yeah, so in the Caribbean, like, I didn't know, when I came here, and I was like, wait, so I've been lied to. Like, I feel like really bamboozled. Like, what? I saw glory. I saw roots. I was like, wait.
This what happened?
I was like, the way they made this seem like it was nothing in our history books. I'm like, wait. What, like, and to me, I was like, I'm kind of cool off Christianity. I kind of like, especially the way it was given to us. I'm like, this is not our heritage. It's not our roots.
How did your mom respond to it?
Oh, Sharaka crazy. I gave my government, right?
It's okay. We're going to go into your names, too, because your names is a journey.
Yeah. Sharaka crazy. She's vegan now. Like, it's a phase. It's going past. She's like all black power now. Like, what is going on? They really thought that I had lost it. Yeah.
But you had found it.
Yeah, I found it. Oh!
Yeah, found it. Yeah, found
Yes.
it. And when you find yourself and your soul, you do look crazy to the outside world. They're like, because you're not following a path that is laid out for the masses. You literally have your own road. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm following my path.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the things I rock with tough about you and your family is the strength I see within the girls. Your son, he's young, so he's figured, he's expressing himself as a young man, you know what I mean? But the girls, when I first met them, I was like, I saw folks who did the work of like unlearning and relearning have the power and the strength that they had like naturally. I remember seeing them, I'm like, these are some confident little black girls. And they like, it's not like a vague confidence, it's rooted. I'm like, they move different, they look in your eye, they talk to you, they got their own, they'll dance, they'll sing, they're expressive, they're creative. What were some of the things that helped you shape how those two were raised and how they saw themselves?
Number one, my spiritual community. Number two, the schooling, making sure that it's African-centered. Number three, just making sure that I practice what I preach. That's the key thing to me, is practicing what I preach. Like, I don't waver on my diet. I don't waver on the fact that I don't, like, you'll never see me drinking wine in the corner somewhere. It's just
like, well, no alcohol, hold on.
It's just not going to happen. They know that I'm about it.
Yeah. That's I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
But thinking about having a son now and I keep thinking about, he doesn't understand me, but he follows me. And I'm like, oh, my biggest teaching is how I act.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can say a lot of stuff, but even right now he don't hear. But I see him even starting to move his body like mine when he walks. You know what I mean? Or like just little movements. I'm like, yo, you got that from me. Or I wake up with crazy allergies sometimes, and I be moving my nose, and now he'll start doing it. And I'm like, don't pick that up. That's the wrong thing.
The wrong thing.
You know, but I hear you. I hear you on that. So the way you act,
Yeah, that's important. And like, we do, like, it's just different. It's a different household. Like, we do stuff based on readings. You know, Nunu's like, Mood, I want to go to this party or whatever. And I'm like, okay, what's the reading?
Yeah. He's like, so explain. So my community, I feel like I may be the most eccentric one in a lot of my spaces.
Right.
And I think I also may have the most unorthodox way of viewing the world. So I know what she's talking about when you're talking about readings. Mm-hmm. But some people might be like, what's she talking about? So explain to me, give context around these readings. Give context around what you mean when you say that.
Okay, so in my particular spiritual community,
Yes.
Pan-African organization, been in existence for 50 years. When we have like a question or something that we're trying to figure out, where there's disagreements in how we should approach it, whether within you or whether within, a community or somebody else, a relationship or what have you, you basically go and pull an oracle card and you shake those, oracle coins. Every single, I would say, ancient, traditional, spiritual system had oracles.
Yeah.
And they basically, they turned all of our oracles into games, the Western world. This is what they did. Dominoes was once an oracle.
Really?
Yeah, that was an oracle system.
I did not know that. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about the numbers on it and how, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Wait, they play, what you call it?
Dice,
tracks?
yeah. Oh.
That was an oracle system, right? Cards. They turned it into playing cards.
They be playing with us.
They play with us. They try to mystify, everything, they just turned it into something trivial.
They be playing with our culture.
Yeah.
That's deep. I'm gonna get real, I'm gonna simplify a lot of things.
Okay.
Oracle. What's another way of saying that, another way of describing that? If I said to you, yo, what's an oracle?
Okay, so our oracle, because there are different oracles.
Yeah.
There's Ifa for the Yoruba.
Yeah.
I think there's Bones for Akan. I'm not particularly sure, but I think so. Chinese, they have like the I Ching coins, and some of them they have the straws.
Yeah.
That they pull. So with us in particular, we have the Medunate Oracle, which is basically a deck of cards with different suits and different deities on each one.
Beyond the physical, what is an oracle?
It's your communication with God.
Okay, boom.
Communicating with God. And what is God? God is you. So communicating with your spirit. You pull the card. This is your spirit talking back to you, telling you what it is that you need. Because sometimes you need reassurance from an entity that it can't be, what's the word? It can't be blurred. It's straightforward.
No interpretation.
Yeah.
No confusion in the mind. This is the answer.
This is the answer.
And so there's different oracle systems, like what you're saying, like I Ching, Ifi, things like that. And would you say that, this is interesting, because I think about oracles and I'd be like, I feel like Jesus is a form of an oracle in Christianity, but they don't use the same word. You go through this system of Christianity, which is the communicator to the Most High, and Christianity is Jesus.
Right.
And it gives you particular answers.
The only thing is that, how does Jesus talk to you?
Oh, yeah. So the oracle system is an actual physical thing that says, here's what it is.
Yeah. It's how do you know if Jesus, wants you to go this direction or that direction?
I see the reason for the physical interpretation. This is a literal, I'm telling you this, you cannot misinterpret it.
Right.
Okay. So your 3 principles again for how you raise the girls. It was
my spiritual community,
yeah.
Not wavering on how I move, and schooling, African-centered schooling.
When I first met you, a couple times after meeting you, you were like, hey, come to the temple. And then I didn't tell you this, but in my head I was like, hell no.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm cool. I might have given you an excuse maybe one day, you see what happens, you know what I mean? I was like, no, I'm cool, I don't know. I raised Christian, anything outside that, you're no, that's crazy, leave it alone, you know what I mean? But the thing that I saw in you was yo, she's mad, normal, and hella cool, and deeply centered. You can feel the presence of God on somebody, you feel me? And you're whatever she doing, it ain't weird. You feel me? I don't know what it is. And I still said no until one day you was like, yo, you a photographer, right? I was like, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. She said, are you a photographer, right? I was like, yeah. She's like, we're doing this the women in the temple, they need like photos for something. And I was like,
Hetero healing. Was
hetero healing. Yeah, and I was like, okay, y'all got a budget? And he was like, yeah. I was like, I'll pull up. So I pulled up, I was like, I'm gonna go shoot, you feel me? Like, this was one of the most beautiful things I ever saw. Mind you, the whole time I'm pulling up, I'm like, I don't know what she into. This shit, she talking about, I don't even know what she talking about. Words she be saying, I ain't never heard them before. Like that. I'm like completely like, yo, the words she said, I ain't even heard them. Like, this, what she talking about? But I recognize the Afrocentricity in the way you move. Mm-hmm. And because of my upbringing and because of Howard and because and my mama and my daddy, like, I'm like, oh, she definitely on her African flow, you feel me? She's definitely on her Pan-African flow, like, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So I pull up, and my eyes, what I see is a school. And I was like, this the temple?
Yeah.
I'm like,
and then school too.
Yeah. Then I walked down, I think you had to walk down the steps.
Yeah.
I walked down the steps, and I see kids, like in uniform. Yeah, uniforms, right?
Yeah. They had like the kente cloth vest.
Yeah, kente cloth vest, right? See the kids in uniform. I'm like, this a temple? In my head, I'm thinking like some Buddhist shit. Like, it's like a whole different cut into a mountain, you gold trim. I'm like, yo, what? I'm completely mind blown. Like, okay, that's not what I thought it was. I thought this was some whole other shit. I pull up, I see the first thing I noticed, because at that time I had just quit my job, I think, as a dean. So I'm just leaving the school system. Mm-hmm. And then I walking into another type of school system. You know, and I'm like, I'm used to like, you gotta wrangle kids, motherfuckers is cussing, you know, the teacher's just irritated. The whole thing is just off balance, you feel me? So I'm like, damn, how, like these kids are like acting really, it wasn't even well behaved, it was just acting really natural. Like unbothered, like whatever was happening in the outside world didn't penetrate who they were.
It's a protective bubble.
Yeah, I was mind blown. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm not hearing teachers cussing, or I'm not cussing, like yelling, or, you know, when you walk down the halls, if you walk down the halls of a school, you can always tell what's really going on. Yeah. Like if the doors are open, you can, just the energy in the classroom, the tones of the kids, the teacher, you can hear, you could address, you can like diagnose if it's problematic or not just by hearing when you walk through school. I'm like, they in here like not quiet, but in conversation with their teachers. Teachers is looking happy. I'm like, I don't know what I just want. What Twilight, and it's all black people.
I did not even know this was going through your head.
All of it. I'm like, I'm evaluating. I'm very observant. That's why I be quiet, because I be like, what the hell's going on in here? And I'm like, the kids, and then like, and then we saw the ladies who were in there doing the hetero healing dance. They were like, y'all was all fly, you know, kind of similar dress, but y'all had maybe a little different colors and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the women had like a presence about them too. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It felt rooted. The women felt very rooted. Like not in the wind. You know what I mean? Not even flirting. Like you could tell when you walk in a room as a man and women are like, no, they notice you. They noticed me, but they weren't like, they didn't break their form. I was like, this is really interesting. Like there's seemingly a value system that everybody has agreed to here.
Yeah.
There's some principles in this space everybody's agreed to, and they're living them out. I'm like, then I think I stayed, we shot, good shoot, good conversations. And then we go to lunch, or the lunch was happening. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, oh, it's like, you know, school, you know, it's French fries and hamburgers. What are we talking about? You feel me? This is American standard diet. All vegan food. Yep. Mind you, I did not fuck with vegan food at all. I'm like, this is cool. This is really cool, but that's not my speed. You feel me? But then I'm like, I'm hungry though. So y'all offer me a plate. I go sit down. I'm like, somebody said, this is, they may didn't say this, but maybe they said, this is chicken. I'm like, oh, this is vegan food. They're like, it is, but it looked like a drumstick. Yeah. I was like, all right, I'll try it. You feel me? Food busting, slapping. I'm like, yo, this is the twilight. This is the twilight zone. Like, what is this? You feel me? So, let's talk about what that community is real quick. Okay. Yeah. So that is your community. That's your spiritual community. What's the name? What did y'all call it? Let's go into it.
Yeah, so the name of my spiritual community is Ausar Auset, International Society, right? We're based in many different states all over the country, and then also in the UK, we're in Canada, we're in some of the Caribbean islands, we're in Ghana and Kenya.
And what are some of the values that I saw practiced? What are some of your laws, some of your values that help govern that community?
So first of all, the first principle is amen, and that means that we are basically made in the image and likeness of God. So that's the first thing. So you're walking and moving and talking like God would move, talk, and walk. Right? That's the ultimate goal. That's how you're supposed to look. That's the only way you're supposed to look. Now, mind you, you have
you human too.
You have your stuff, but you're actively working on your stuff.
Yes.
Right? Principle of Ausar. That basically is the principle that says that nothing is against you. So nothing in this world, no situation, no event, no person can be against you.
Like all things work in
We're
your
all
favor.
one. We're all one, right? So if I look at you and you're doing something, something that's not necessarily right or whatever, it can't be against me because you're my reflection, right? This is spirit talking to me, telling me I need to work on something, right? I'm not going to look at you and say you're against me because you can't be against me because you are me. And I'm not against myself.
We're all one.
Right.
Okay.
Right? You want me to keep going?
Keep going. Roll through the principle.
Okay, so with Tahuti is like when we go to the oracle. So Tahuti, the principle of seeking guidance from God. Because we're still working on ourselves. We're not necessarily 100% in a place where we can depend wholly on our intuition because there's just so much stuff in this world that we still have to work out. So we go to God. We spread them cards and we shake them coins.
So we ain't shaking ass, we're shaking coins.
We shaking coins.
Might shake ass some other time, but right now shaking coins.
At the hetero party, we but you know.
Got you. No, I hear you.
Okay.
Ass shaking is okay.
It is okay.
I think it is okay.
It is okay, but
you talked about the womb earlier. You gotta move the womb.
You gotta move the womb. Yeah. Not in the presence of men, though, except if it's your husband.
Yeah. There you go. So we was on Tahuti.
So then sacred is after that. Sacred, the principle is that God is omnipotent, and so are you. All of the power that is in God is in you. God is the ocean. You're a drop of that ocean. And we all make up the mass, right? And that's why we're all one. Just think of an ocean and just all the droplets of water in it. That's us as the human body, right? But we don't use that word human.
Yeah. What word do you use?
Well, we don't consider ourselves divine beings.
Divine beings. That's why I call my son Mana. I walk in his room in the morning, I'm like, what's up, divine being?
Yay! I love it.
I got that from you. I was like, what's up, divine being? What's up, man? Like, you gotta know who you are.
Yeah.
At the core.
At the core.
Yeah, you gotta know who you are. Everything else is topical.
Yeah.
You can switch that out to where now you're a divine being now. Okay, let's keep going.
Oh, you want to keep going? Okay.
Yeah, because I think these principles, and for y'all who are wondering why I'm having to go down these values, because they really work. The perspective really works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, understanding these things as you brings you to a different level of living and understanding. And when we talk about well-being, which is the word everybody's using now, wellness, well-being, this is how you get there.
Yeah.
It's by manifesting and living these principles. So let's keep going.
The principle of Ma'at is about reciprocity between us, interchanging, and connecting, our connection with each other, but reciprocity between us and God, right? People say that they need God, but they forget that God needs them as well. God needs us. We need God, God needs us. God needs us in order to come into the world, in order to, show up in the world. And we show up as God when we walk as God, when we don't cater to our negative conditionings, the anger, the fear, the anxiety, all of these things that don't necessarily serve us. And we show up as love. God, Ma'at also represents love, giving without seeking anything in return. And that's how God shows up. God made you and gave you all of these things and says, okay, I put you here. I'm not asking anything from you except to just show up as me.
This is really interesting, and we'll continue through the principles. But when you said God shows up as love, and love is given without seeking anything in return.
Right.
That's a deep meaning of love, like, because that's what it feels like. When you love somebody, you're like, I give you because I love you.
Not because I want something.
Not because I want something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very practical meaning of love.
Yeah, like look at your children.
Yeah,
like for
you don't
me,
expect
unconditional. Yeah, my children, I don't expect anything from them.
Yeah, like pay me for this love.
No,
I need $10 a week for me to
no,
love you.
I just love you. And that's how we need to enter into our relationships, friendships. Like, no, I love you. I'm going to give to you regardless.
Okay, let's keep rolling.
Yeah. So where we at? We on my... Then you got Herukahuti. Okay, we were talking about Herukahuti. I have a Herukahuti destiny reading. So does your son.
Yep.
So does my daughter.
Yeah.
We some warriors.
There you go.
Anyway, so Herukahuti, basically the principle is that we don't have the protection of God. We create the protection for ourselves based on how we show up in the world.
I say that one more time because that is very contrary to how mainstream people may think about things.
Yeah.
How mainstream thought may come. So say that again.
So we don't have protection from God. We receive protection based on how we show up in the world.
Because you're like, and would you say my interpretation is right here, or if I say because you are already protected, if you step out of alignment, that's when you become unprotected.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like you reap what you sow. That's the principle of karma. They call it karma, right? So if you do good, you're gonna get good. You're gonna get all the blessings, that you're supposed to have, even if it doesn't show up in this realm. Like if you might be making money based on your evil deeds or what have you, but when you leave here,
like you got something to answer to.
You got some answering. Yeah, you're gonna reap it. You're gonna reap all of that stuff, and it doesn't escape anyone.
Okay, let's keep going.
So Herukahuti, and then next principle is Heru. Heru basically is like we have the choice. You have the power to choose. A lion doesn't wake up, any in the day and say, okay, today I don't feel like eating meat today. I'm not gonna. We as humans have been given a superpower beyond just our animalistic nature. We have been given the choice. Okay, and the right choice would be to operate as a divine being and not operate as, your lower nature. Right? So.
And when you say lower nature, how would you, what would you associate with lower nature? What emotions? What actions?
Anger, grief, sadness, worry, fear, anxiety. All of the things that don't serve us. All of the things that don't look like what God would look like. Can you imagine God anxious?
He's sitting here like,
I don't know.
Sun come today or no? I don't know. Yeah, no, that's not it. That's not it.
That's not it. And it's like, oh.
That's mad funny. Because that's a good way to think about it. Like, if you're a divine being, you're one with the Most High. Could you imagine the Most High, which is your highest self, stressing?
Right.
Anxious, and it's not you.
Yeah, and it's okay. Like the energy flows. That's just energy flowing through you, but you gotta choose whether or not you want to give it power, whether or not you want to energize it, right? So yeah, the thoughts and the sadness is gonna come, but are you gonna stay there, or are you gonna transmutate that thought?
And that's a choice.
Yeah, that's a choice. You have the choice, and we give up our choice when we say, oh, I'm only human.
When I hear that, when I hear people say that, I want to shout like, "No, you're not! You're a divine being, please! Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
You're more than that."
Yeah. And
I be hearing the homies say that, or people say that. I be like, "No, that's not it.
Yeah,
that's not it.
Yeah.
You're more than that."
Yeah, and this is all the teachings of Ra'u Nefer Amen.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I say that.
Yeah.
Ra'u Nefer Amen, okay? Author of Meduna Tea,
Yeah,
volumes
it's a
1
beautiful
through
book.
7.
Beautiful book. I'll put a link here. I'll pass it to as many homies as I can because it's just that beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just that beautiful. It's like, I really feel like he needs a philosophy course. The way that people study, I can't think of a philosopher right now, but the way people study philosophers, and they say like these people have a perspective on the world that is true or different or whatever case is, like he could have a whole course in universities. It's a beautiful text.
He should.
Yeah, he should. They should study that book.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
I
keep
mean,
going.
and some of them have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna continue too. I told you a while back. I was at a festival. We'll continue, but I was at a festival, and the shorty was out of nowhere in Vegas, 10,000 person festival. I'm talking. I'm walking. End up talking to this shorty who's right in front of me, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm from so and so." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I have no clue how this got brought in. She's like, "You ever read Meduna Tea?" I was like, "What?" Yeah, that book is popping. I was like, "You read it?" She was like 20.
Oh, that's awesome.
20. Like it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was like, "Oh, his teachings are those truths, his teachings, his philosophy, and just the truth that he's speaking through they're floating around." So let's keep going.
Yeah. So we had Heru, the choice, right?
Yeah.
I want to go deep into that. Like,
let's go.
Yeah,
This is good. This is
and I noticed this in a lot of kids shows. They're like, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, it's not. This is not okay. It's like, because you're giving power to that energy, and that energy is not helpful to you.
That what you said is completely against everything Western society says about mental health.
I know. I'm not Western.
Yeah, they both.
At all. I mean, I just live in the Western.
Here, yeah.
I live here. I just live here.
I just live here. I just live here, guys. I just live here. Listen. Literally, and sometimes with Arise Wellness in these workshops, I tell people like something like that. And I say that to them in a way it's a little softer because this is the first time hearing it. And I'm like, yo, you don't have to be anxious. You don't have to give power to that. And then people, it's like the most mind fuck looking thing.
Yeah.
You can see the face like, what? I don't have to be angry? So let's keep going. So when
because they're conditioned. Like, and for me, like, it starts young. You know, my son is crying, bawling. I'm like, okay, we don't do that. You know, you gotta, I was like, take some deep breaths.
What would you say? What would you say? Because here's what is going to be in people's head. My emotions are valid.
Yeah, of course. No, they're not. Okay? They're not valid because they don't look like God. Okay? They destroy your body temple. Like, anything that can harm you physically is not good for you. Even if it's an emotion. Like, stress, that gives you fibroids, raises your cortisol levels. Like, you get all sorts of deficiencies in your body based on high cortisol going up all the time.
And the real power is not that you can choose to tune into a different frequency.
Yeah.
I was watching, you were talking to Sasa yesterday, and you said, something, she said something, I don't know, or maybe she had left the room, but you was like, yeah, sometimes she may think that a frequency or an energy passing by is her.
Right.
And it's like, so go into that too, 'cause I think that's what gives us a lot of like, it could be passing by, but it doesn't mean that if the car passes in front of me and it gives me a reflection of itself, I see my reflection in the car, I'm still not the car.
Right.
I'm looking at something passing by, and it happens to align with me for a second.
Right.
Yeah, so let's just talk about like when you say something like that, and folks are going to automatically sometimes disconnect because my emotions are valid. I'm feeling them, so they're real.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They're not even real.
And they may not be you. They may not be. Yeah. I love how you explained yesterday. You were talking about. You said you're like, yeah, somebody used to stay in this room that's in one of my homes, and et cetera, about the energy she was going through.
She was crying all the time.
Yeah, and you're like, yo, that energy also can pass through the house.
Yeah.
And it's not our energy, but it happens to be surrounding our space or moving through our space. Yeah.
Yeah. So like thoughts and those negative vibrations, right? You have spirits everywhere, okay? So you have spirits that are going through some stuff, and they have their They have their things that they're still here with, and that's why they're still here. And they can basically try to transmute that energy to you. And you start thinking something that you have no business thinking, and then you're like, oh, this is me, this is real, this is reality. And in actuality, no, it's just a thought that you should have ignored. It's just a thought that you should have said, okay, what is this? Where's this coming from? You know, don't give it validity. Because it's not you. The only thing that is valid is the fact that you are divine. The only thing that is valid is your divine nature. That's all. That's it. That's all.
I think about this like if you ever had a walkie-talkie, sometimes you can hear, you might be on a channel and another frequency may cut through your walkie-talkie and you can hear somebody was talking for a quick second. And it's like, that's what it's like, where it's like, that's not even your conversation happening. Somebody just cut through it.
Yeah.
But if you were to give that energy that passed through attention, you can chase it, and now you're just focused on it.
Yeah, you're focused on it and empowering it.
You're empowering it with your because what you focus on grows.
Yeah, we know this.
This is good. This is good. This is good. Yeah, this is one of the I know in Meduna Thierry talks about this let's call it mindset, this sphere of understanding is what maybe most folks are trying to achieve in well-being, where it's like you can choose the power that exists for you to choose to focus on something or not, or go down a direction or not. I think that is the baseline function of a well person.
Right.
Like when we're like in this world right now, people trying to figure out what does it mean to be well. It's like to know you have the power to choose what you focus on and what you empower and what becomes your reality.
Yeah. That's Heru. That's Heru in a nutshell. Yeah. And Meneb. Meneb is a still heart. So Meneb in Kemetic language translates into a still heart. Right? So things happen, situations happen to you or around you. You know, you don't give power to negative energies that might well up within you based on those situations. You can practice Meneb, having a still heart.
You know, I always call it Menab. So when you were talking about it right now, I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. Meneb, I got you.
Yeah, Meneb.
Yeah, having a still heart. That really helps too. I think it's like when shit happens in my life, I have trained myself to be still. So I can sometimes observe it, sometimes observe it, let it sink in, sometimes realize that's not what the fuck I need to be focusing on. You know what I mean? I think about, I want to drive this point home and then we move on to the next one. It's like when I'm in my workshops and people to buck back at when I say, yo, you have choice and all your emotions don't have to be valid. You don't have to sit in them. And I go like, they go, but I have to acknowledge all the emotions, right? I'm like, okay, like, I'm like, all my fun, I'm like, well, if a crackhead wants to do crack, should they just focus on doing crack or should they focus on something else? If somebody who has diabetes is like fiending for sugar, do you focus on the sugar or do you then put your attention on something else? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you have these choices to make, these crossroad moments to make where you're like, yo, I have the power to not engage. It's like if you're married or with somebody and you're attracted to somebody else, like, do you indulge in the feeling just because it's there? Or do you say, let me go. That's
Meneb.
Yeah, that's Meneb. Hold on. You feel me? I'm getting caught up. You feel me? So I'm like, that's why I feel like we do it in other realms of life, but when it comes to the hard, triggering things, we then forget that we have the power to choose. It's like we forget ourselves in hard moments, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about any more Heru? Anything you want to?
No.
Okay.
So Heru.
Yeah.
Heru principle basically governing your imagination. So it's basically stating that you can imagine the things that you want and need and not necessarily focus on the negative things that you don't want and need. So the visualization part of it, right? So, you know, with Heru is creative, so you can create the images that you want in your life. Heru is joy. So focus on cultivating joy within your spirit, not being pleasure seeking right?
That's a Western way.
Not seeking pleasure through like external means, but trying to work on finding the joy within you.
And how do you? I don't know if the question is how do you or what is the way to empower the imagination? I think about this. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to get you to say it, but I'm just gonna say it, and then you tell me if I'm wrong or right, whatever. Chris. I think about like
I feel like I'm not talking to them.
No, it's okay talking to me.
It's okay,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. They like here, but they not here. You feel me?
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, who am I looking at? Okay, I think about, let's just call it what it is. I think about sexual energy.
Right.
And how sexual energies have to be used for sex. That momentum can be used to empower a thought or an imagination. It can be used to empower yourself to do something else. It's at the base of it is like a rush of energy, a rush of divine power. And I think about sex, I'm like, yo, if you think about what sex does, it creates other humans.
Yep.
And so it's a creative energy.
Right.
So you can use it for other things. I did a 2-year, what do you call it when you don't have sex?
Celibacy.
Yeah. I had like a kind of celibacy. I didn't have no vagina, but I was, I was messing around every now and then. You know what I mean? Sexual intercourse wasn't had. You feel me?
Right,
But,
okay.
you niggas slip up. You feel me? But in that 2 years of like abstaining, I found that I was able to learn how to channel the energy from being like in my lower self to being like, I just want some ass right now. Like, where the women at? You feel me? To being like, oh, I gotta do something else with this energy. I gotta like put it somewhere. And I was able to do things and manifest things in ways that I didn't before. You know what I mean? I think about in the imagining when I'm doing my visualization, sometimes I pump myself up, man. I'm like, I started doing one day, you said something to me, you said, no, maybe it's in the book, maybe it's in Brooklynite, but I think you had mentioned it too. You're like, yo, like, you said, one day you said, everything is you didn't say everything was a ritual, but you were like, man, you don't be realizing how much everything is like a ritual, or how much symbolism is in things. And I was like, what you mean? You was like, yo, when people are partying, like, you can engage a thought or an idea or a visualization and use that energy of the function to power it. And I was like, yo, that's wild, interesting. You feel me? So I catch myself now if I'm in a party and it's popping and I'm having a good ass time, I'll start visualizing something. So I'm like, oh, I'm hyped right now. Like, instead of being like trying to visualize with minimum energy being quiet, I'll be like, oh, I'm hyped. Oh, remember what you want. You know what I mean? And party to that tonight. You know? When I do kinfolk in LA, I'll be like, yo, listen, hey, y'all, we partying tonight, so I want you to think about what your dream is, what you really want, and when you party to that. You feel me?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like, that's like the
party to
new
your
age
dream.
version of it.
Yeah.
Like, literally our rituals are, we get on the ritual floor, we dance, and we visualize.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. That's what I be doing with kinfolk. I be like, yo, your dream, like, live your dream. All right, party to your dream tonight. Toast to your dream. You smoking tonight, smoke to your dream. Like, you.
But okay, that's what y'all doing. That's where y'all at.
Everybody growing.
Everybody growing.
Everybody growing.
No judgment here. We're one.
Everybody growing. So yeah, okay. So I like so for folks who are just coming into these terms, Heteru is the energy of the power of imagination. It's the idea, the concept, the ideology, the deity of that controls the idea of imagination is how you control the subtle energies of life and pull them together to make things happen in the physical world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Enjoy. Don't forget that joy. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like true pleasure, like pleasure of the gods, not pleasure of the
body,
the animalistic. Nature.
What's the difference? I think many of us people, I think that is the human condition is like, my body feels, my body pleasures. I like that, but there's a pleasure that another pleasure I'm supposed to have. So how would you say that for people who are trying to figure it out?
So the pleasure of like giving to others, the pleasure of what love is supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Like truly without all the extra drama and all the extra stuff. The pleasure
good
of
love,
family, the pleasure of achieving all of your goals.
That pleasure lasts longer. That's like you can live in that pleasure for years.
Yeah. It has longevity.
Yeah.
As opposed to the instant.
Yeah.
The instant gratification type of
It's like
pleasure.
microwave food versus like a home cooked meal.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like you can eat them donuts, nigga, but you have a gut in 2 weeks. You keep eating this good food, you're gonna feel good when you look in the mirror. Your body's gonna be healthy for the remainder of your time on earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, your imagination and choosing also, choosing, because Heru is in there too, Heru, right?
Yeah.
Choosing what you imagine.
Ooh.
Choosing because sometimes images just pop into your head the same way, the same way thoughts do, right? Images just pop into your head.
That's so
but
true.
do you give it power, right? The negative image, do you give it power? You got to switch it up and be like, okay, I'm going to focus on, something else that I want to give actual power to.
That's good. Because you can still use the energy of the moment.
Right.
You could choose to replace it with something else, transpose it with something else. Like,
If you have a functioning brain, you can do that.
You're like, oh, that's a bad thought. Let me use that for something else.
I just go, hot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, get that away.
No, go. Yeah.
Okay. What's the next?
The next one is Sebek. So Sebek is the faculty of thinking, the intellectual aspect of you. So your thoughts and your words. So
what about your thoughts and words?
making sure that they are in line with the divine.
Hey, got you.
Right? So if you're thinking negative shit, then, I mean, you are your thoughts. You are your thoughts, or you are the thoughts that you give power to. You become that.
I love that distinction very particularly. You are the thoughts you give power to, because mad thoughts can flow through, but the ones you choose to grab hold of and say I am too, and you ponder on, you're literally giving your life force energy to that thought. Like you are birthing it.
Yeah, and people they hold fast to certain ideals that might not even be correct. They're like, oh my God, I am not, so the thought, I am not a speaker. I don't speak well. Like, I used to say that to myself. I don't speak well. I'm not a good speaker. I don't like doing public speaking. I perform, but I'm not going to sit and have a conversation with somebody on any public platform.
And look at you now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, if I continue to give power to that thought, I wouldn't have made the move to start speaking in public. So choosing the thoughts that you give power to, you change it. And, that's where affirmations come from, basically. Except, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Affirmations don't work just by themselves.
Can you talk about it now? Cause we
affirmations don't work by themselves, because at the end of the day, your affirmations are in battle with what is happening within you internally. Your consciousness, is battling with, these things that are like rooted deep within you that you need to discard.
So what do you do? I think this is good, because one of the points of this podcast is to drop the wisdom in the game that people can use to help change their lives, right?
Right.
So in the era of affirming and affirmations, that's a phase of it or a piece of it. But you're right, you're saying things that you are wanting to download into your psyche, into your consciousness, to your spirit, and they may be battling against things that you currently believe.
Right.
So what's the bridge, or what's the way to zap the belief that you don't rock with, so you can download this one properly? Is it going to trance?
We go into Auset, which is
Auset.
trance. So that's why she the mama.
Yeah.
That's why she's the great mother, because she transforms everything. Transforms.
Yeah. Yeah, not trans, the other one. The trans, this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, she transforms. So Auset is the faculty of nurturing the God within you, basically. Like truly nurturing and pouring water on it, like you would water a plant, So sitting down and meditating and visualizing. So you bridge, or you marry Sebek and Heteru okay, your meditation scripts.
So sound and image marry.
Yeah, to create, the transformation, right?
That's an important one. I think that's a lot of. And Motherhood, he speaks a lot of that about the marrying of sound and imagery.
Yeah.
We're like, because that is the world. Everything's a vibration.
Right.
Yeah, and then things have physical form, visual form. Most things have physical, visual form. So to transform this, we have to play with both sides of both of those elements.
Yeah, and when you're in the semi-sleep state,
Yeah.
which is meditation state, right? Because when you're awake, it's like, okay, I will to do this, but then you're battling with your, the back of the things that, you've like seated for so long, they're there. But when you take it into trance, when you take it into meditation, that's the only way you can transform it and transcend it.
I believe that. I practice that a lot where I'm like, let me go deep in meditation. Deep, not deep, whatever. I like in the book how he talks about we do this naturally. Like when somebody's like, what do we say when somebody's like just looking off in space, hey, come back.
Daydreaming.
Yeah, like it's like in that daydream state.
Yeah.
Is when you can use that same state of mind to like whatever you was just visualizing back in your head and you was thinking about where you literally took your focus away from this environment. You can intentionally do that.
Intentionally do that, yeah.
And do your affirmation and your visualization while you're in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, while you spaced out. What'd you call it again? Yeah.
When you're in trance.
No. We said when it's not
daydreaming.
Out of it. Yeah.
Daydreaming.
When you're daydreaming. And that gave me a whole different perspective on daydreaming.
Yeah.
Because now I was trying to teach Jim, like, yo, I want to teach you how to like go into that form of meditation, that trance form of meditation. And I was like, you do it. I be seeing you do it. She's like, what are you talking about? And then one day she was daydreaming. I'm like, that's it. You know how you just like went into space right now? You just spaced out?
You were
like,
gone.
You were gone? I was like, get there and then visualize. You feel me? And she's like, that's it? I'm like, right there. Like, cultivate that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but with us, it goes a little deeper because then,
Yeah.
you just marry all of these things, right? So we have the mantras for each deity has a particular mantra.
Yes.
Right? A word of power. And then each deity or principle has like an oil, a scent, incense, so the smell. You basically tap into all of the senses, right? And then you have the mantras playing, you're focusing on your breath. And you also have a meditation script that you prepared, right? So that's the difference. Like people meditate just for meditation's sake sometimes, and I'm like, no, meditation should have a purpose. Meditation is to transform, different things within yourself that you don't necessarily need, right?
And that meditation script is so important because it's like doing the work before you get in. It's like planning before you get into meditation.
Yeah.
You plan what you want to see, you plan what you want to work on. You plan on seeing. So let's talk about the meditation script. I think one thing I love about us, the Ausar Auset community and Motherhood, I love how practical it is. Like whether you decide to follow the culture of it or follow the spiritual traditions of it, the traditions of it, just the baseline information the tools. There you go. The baseline tools are unmatched.
Yeah, I agree.
Unmatched. The tools are unmatched. So let's talk about the tool of script, writing script.
Yeah.
Because I think I take that tool and I used it, and now when I do workshops, I have people write out their scripts, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is what you're gonna do to transform your mind." I'm like, now take that and meditate on that.
Right.
And they're like, holy shit, like I didn't think about, because there's a lot of science now backing how athletes visualize and become better at a physical task. And I'm like, you know how athletes do that? You see on TV? Yeah, I visualize to get touchdowns before I make a touchdown. I visualize through shooting threes. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it works. There's like, they even said like the body starts to train itself like it's actually doing. The body can't separate imagination from the brain.
Yeah. It's basically practicing on the inner planes for what's going to happen externally.
So
right?
let's talk about how you practice on the inner planes for what's about to happen physically on the outside. tell us how a meditation script is
Okay.
configured.
Okay. So the way Shakasis
And say it like
in layman's terms.
Yeah, like as if you were talking to a 10-year-old.
I mean, that's always the way I'm gonna speak. I'm a teacher.
Okay, cool. Not because y'all are stupid or anything, but it's just because that's the best way to get information. Because
not even a 10-year-old, like
Yeah.
a 5-year-old.
Yeah, like boom, boom.
Okay, so the meditation script starts with you making a list of things that don't necessarily serve you, negative emotions that you want to work on. Okay, so you make a list. Okay, for me, my biggest thing, back in the day, and something that I'm still working on, is not yelling at my kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Understood.
Because, I got that fiery energy or what have you.
Yeah.
So, so not yelling at the kids, right? For things that they do or don't do, right? So I would be like, okay, I want to work on this. I want to stop yelling, right? So I start writing a meditation script based on that. So that's what I'm giving up. You have to give up something in order to get something, right? So I basically see the worst case scenario in my visualization. So I write down, I walk into the house, there's a sink full of dirty dishes. The girls didn't clean the bathroom like I asked them to. Like all of the things that would trigger me yelling, right? I see it instead of me going into what energy that I would normally go into. I take a deep breath and I say a truism based on my divinity, right? And that, depending on what readings I got for that particular thing, like nothing is against me, right? Including these kids.
Yeah, these kids and these dishes.
Okay.
The dishes are not against me. These kids are not against me.
These kids are not against me.
They love me, unconditional love. My eyes.
Yes, right? These kids are not against me. So I say, nothing is against me. I'm one of all. No situation, event is against me. Okay, so that's my maybe it's an Ausar reading that I got, right? So then I continue to write the script and I see myself, going into the room, talking to the children, being harmonious with them, not yelling, being calm, and be like, can y'all please do me a favor and wash the dishes? Like, I write all of this down in my script. Can y'all, I write it all down in my script. And then they go, they do the dishes or whatever. And then I basically see myself, we're hanging out. They don't feel, any way because their mom is not yelling. And then I give myself a blessing after that. So the blessing would be, okay, the house that I wanted, or the blessing would be the car that I want, or the blessing would be, more money in my bank account. I go in my bank account and I see, some zeros added to that, right? So actively working on manifesting your stuff based on what you're getting rid of within your spirit, right? So that's the meditation script in a nutshell. It's a trigger, whatever is triggering that emotion, right? You state your truism. You see yourself acting as God in the situation, and then you give yourself a blessing. And that's it. That's your meditation script. And you do that, you memorize it, and then when you go into meditation, you have the mantras playing. You focus on your breath. You focus on the words that are being spoken. And then when it's time, you start visualizing going through your meditation script. And do that repeatedly. Do that over and over.
The tools are unmatched.
Yeah.
And then when you combine that with the power of choice,
yes,
then you really got something good going.
Yeah.
Because you already worked on it.
Yeah.
You downloaded the response, and then you still your heart in the moments of agitation and triggering, and choose what you just said was going to be the way you wanted to move.
Yeah. And it's practice. It's literally practice.
Literally
and
practice.
Like, it becomes like second nature because you done did it so many times. Even though it wasn't like in the physical plane, you did it, internally. You did it so many times. So when the situation arises, you're like, oh wow, this is easier than I thought.
I got this. Yeah, I got this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I want to talk about one more thing on this level, and then I want to go to your music.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go to your music. I want to give a deep amount of credit to Ra.
Ra'u Nefa Amen.
Ra'u Nefa Amen.
Yes.
The author behind Medunatir.
Yeah. And the author behind the meditation script.
Yeah, right. So what? How did you come into relationship and contact and friendship and familyship with? If you don't mind talking, you go tell it how you feel like telling. You don't go too deep. You know what I mean?
So I was married to his son.
Okay.
And we have 2 beautiful children.
Beautiful children.
So, yeah, that became like my family. Like his family became my family. They've always been present in the girls' lives, in my life, and helping me transform, you know, just all of the stuff that I was working through as a youngster. And, you know,
young liquor snapper.
Yes, I've come a long way. So it's not just, you know, Shakaman and his family. It's like the whole spiritual community, you know. And he's, you know, very, what's the word? Instrumental in just my journey and my growth, you know. And
your husband is also part of the spiritual community, right?
Yeah, my husband is also part of the spiritual community.
And what's his role in the community?
So he's like the spokesperson for Rao Never Men. So, you know, he's the person that everybody comes and talks to if they need to relay a message or whatever, and vice versa. And he's the one who, like, gets stuff done.
Yeah, I understand.
That needs to get done.
He's like, in my terms and how I think about him in business, he's like second in command. That's his right hand.
Yeah.
So what is it like? Do you find it overwhelming, or do you find it reinforcing? How do you find it to be so close to the folks who hold these values maybe the most? You know what I mean? Because they came through their spirit and they uphold them for the whole community. Is it like annoying to be like, it's like having like your dad close with you? He's not your dad. You know what I mean?
He kind of like
he's your father-in-law, right? So I get you. But is it like annoying where you're like, I want to turn up, but I'm so entrenched in the community, I can't.
No, I mean, there was a point in my life, you know, where it was like, stay out my business.
Yeah.
You know, you remember that.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, it's just too much. But
I do remember that. That's what I was asking.
But now it's like, yo, that shit grew me. Like, I've grown so much as a result of like that, you know, it's like a flashlight on you, a spotlight on you saying, okay,
you gonna act right.
What you doing? What you doing, sis?
Right? I see you about to make that decision over there. Once you figure it out, kind of, yeah. No, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Your music.
Yes.
Shakasis.
Shakasis.
Who's
that?
Shakasis. I also came into contact with you through the community of Tunnel Vision, and that was upheld by the community of Brooklyn. And you was deep in the music and deep in the art, and you was spitting bars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You performed many times, maybe 4 to 5 times on Stoop 55 Block Party. Mm-hmm. Some of the most epic performances happen from you on Stoop 55. Your art is amazing. Your music is amazing, and I love it too because I always say and think that you are the bridge between your spiritual community, the very depths of it, and the masses. Mm-hmm. Because you can relate on just an artistic level and a fun level, and you put those truisms in your music.
Yeah.
You don't exactly put the mantras in the music, and because then the truism,
we don't. You gotta come and get that.
Yeah, but the truisms, the truths of who we are as divine beings is in your music. So I would like you just to give us some song titles. I think that's the best way. Okay. The song titles are powerful too. They tell you where it's going.
Okay, so I have a song called Supreme Beings. Mm-hmm. I have a song called Melanated. Mm-hmm. I have a song called The New Black. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like God and Goddess, The New Black. Mm-hmm. But the name of the song is called The New Black. Mm. What else? Dude, I can't remember my song titles. I'm trying to remember.
Shakafy Brooklyn.
Shakafly Brooklyn. Yes, that's the classic.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, Shakafly.
How I translate divine being to, in my own words, I say creative being. I think being divine being and a creative being is the function of a divine being.
Right.
Because you're creating your choices. You can create how you choose. You create what you focus on. You create what you imagine. You're literally taking and inheriting the powers of the Most High and using those tentacles and those energies and the power to use it in your own life. So I think one of our slogans in Arise Wellness is a creative being is a well-being. And if I was to pull that back, it would be like a divine being is a well-being. But you as a creator and you creating with this foundation from Queen Afua to Ra'un Affair, Ra'un Affair, man. Said it correct, right?
Ra'un Affair.
Yeah, much respect. No disrespect. I'm bad with names sometimes. But you have some of the most powerful spiritual leaders in African consciousness as your close mentors.
Yeah.
And you decided to do music. When you were writing that music, did you consciously say, I'm going to translate this, or was that just who you were at the moment?
So, I mean, a couple of different things, right? So sometimes I consciously say, okay, I want to write something based on this particular subject because I see something that I don't necessarily vibe with, and I'm like, okay, what's the counter to that? Let me write that song, right? Sometimes it's like, okay, I wake up at 4 a.m. and spirit just starts talking to me and start writing. You know, so it comes different ways. But my goal ultimately all the time is not to sound preachy, make it cool, make it like a vibe, but make it righteous. Make it righteous and make it good.
You do that very well.
Yeah.
You do that very well. Your journey as you continue. Talked about this yesterday, so I'm gonna put you on the spot now.
Okay.
What is next for Sharaka, for Shakasis? What are your other names?
Okay, so
Let's
do the names.
We'll do this. We'll do the names. Start from birth name, go, and then we'll end with what is next for you.
Okay, so
Cause I'll be places, and somebody will be like, "Kanamsanu," but I'll be like, "Who is that?" It's like you be like, "Yes." I'm like, "What?" I thought your name was Sharaka. Yeah, for real. I remember at first I'm like, "Who are they talking to?" She answered the whole people's names. So let's go down that.
Okay, so my birth name is Shara.
Okay.
My name is like the only African name out of like 6 siblings.
Why they move with you that way?
I don't know. My mother don't know. She just named me Shara.
It's what Spirit told her. She's like, that's Shara.
That's Shara, right? So then I changed my name to Sharaka when I joined this organization called Indota Ensha Performing Arts Company.
Okay.
When I was younger.
Okay.
I added Ka, spirit, to my name.
Sharaka.
So
that's clever.
So Sha is breath, Ra is light, or the sun, and Ka, breath of light and spirit. So
that's good.
You did
a good one.
Let me add spirit to that name. I was like, and people be like, nope, Sharaka.
Yeah, say the whole thing.
Gonna be Sharaka. And there's a point in time where I used to watch talk shows a lot, and so many like Caucasian girls had the name Shara, and I'm like, I'm black. I'm like Pan-African. Like what? I do not want to be associated with that energy. Okay.
Put that cow. Let's put that soul in that name.
Let's put that soul in that name. Let's put spirit. Yeah.
Okay.
So Sharaka.
Sharaka. Okay.
Okay, and then when I came to Ausar Auset, I got a priestess name or a name, because I joined. I was in the younger priesthood.
Okay.
for the young folks. And my spiritual name became Kenamsanut based on my destiny reading.
And what does Kanapsanut mean?
Kenamsanut means through patience and the magical words of God, I obtain victory. Right?
Say it one more time.
Through patience and the magical words of God, I obtain victory.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I need it. So, when you say Kenamsanut, you're empowering me to remember my role here on this realm, this incarnation, right? So, Kenamsanut is my, priestess in training name, right? And Shakasis, my ex-husband named me.
Okay.
Shakasis. Because I was gonna go by Sharaka as my stage name, and he was like Shaka, he's like, you got that warrior energy, so you got to be like Shaka Zulu. You got to bring that energy, and then the sis, you like, it's a duality of that feminine and that warrior energy.
Oh, that's
so
good.
Shaka sis.
He did a good job with that.
Yeah. I mean, he named everybody. He named a
Did
whole lot of
Did
people.
he? Oh, he's like, this is it. This shit right here. I got you. That's his gift. That's cool.
That's one of his gifts.
Okay, so for Sharaka, Kanamsanut, Shakasis, all of your identities are now you. You probably all of those at different times to different people, but probably to yourself, you are who you are when you are what you are. But what is next for you? What is next for the divine being, Sharaka?
I mean, hopefully, hopefully I'm able to.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Because this is going to get played many times. Let's not hope.
Right. Okay, so let's not say hopefully. Okay, willfully.
That power's gonna go out. You feel me?
Willfully.
Yeah.
Willfully. I have to bring my music to more people. So that's something that has been like, I think God wanted me to get it right. And for some reason, like, my music has not been out there. As much as I performed in Brooklyn, performed on many stages, like, for whatever reason, my music has not gotten to the masses in the way that I envisioned it. But I look at my journey and I see just all of the things that I've gone through to, like, uplift me even more from where I was to now where I am. And it's like, okay, now's your time. I think that I was ahead of my time in a lot of ways, because I would put stuff out and not necessarily get the energy that I was expecting, because people weren't ready for it.
Now there's a whole audience seeking this kind of music. Yeah,
it's a way, because I'm like, okay, people would say, you're too conscious, or you're too, it's too. I remember somebody saying, like, you over spiritualize everything.
Like, spirit is everything.
You over spiritualize everything,
You
especially with your
under-spiritualize
music. Yeah, so I'm like, oh wow, like is that wrong? Like, I was like, is that wrong? Like, for me, I'm like, that's what flows through me. And that's, and sometimes it's not me. It's like God, like, or my ancestors, whatever, putting this stuff in my brain, and I just dictate, they dictate and I just take notes, right? So, I think that now's my time. Now's my time to finally, like, put the stuff out. Put all the things out, because people are ready.
People are ready. At the beginning, we talked about the reemergence of Sacred Woman and Queen Afua. I think that is a symbol. She reemerged, and you are in alignment, and we're in alignment with her at a point in time. Now it's just that energy is wanting to be to the top.
Even Ausar Auset now, Ausar Auset is doing more stuff for the public.
Yeah. I think that's mad cool. I got the app, or the course. There's a course that was out. I got the course. It's super dope too.
So I mean, before we were like real, like, no, if you make it here, you make it here. We're not trying to like tell you come here, But now it's like the teachings, like.
Yeah, here you go.
Here you go.
The tools are unmatched.
Yeah.
Unmatched.
So
Unmatched. Okay, and I know the tools that you are going to put in your music
yeah,
are going to be unmatched.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
I think that an album called Truisms would be fire. An album called Truisms would be fire. Anyway, okay, so listen.
okay, that's the next album.
Yeah, true. That's
Okay,
fire. That's
Divine
fire.
Beings the first,
Yeah, and
Truisms the next.
That's good.
That's awesome.
That's good.
You
Okay.
see, I
That's
love the
good.
way your mind works.
Yeah, truisms. Sharaka, it is an honor to talk with you. I've been wanting to talk with you for a long time. I'm like, people gotta just have another entry point to the things that they're trying to get to. And I think sometimes we think about culture, and when I think about culture, it's about cultivating. I think about us cultivating over millennial and decades and generations. And when we, and the truisms that you walk with, they come from a deep lineage and a deep culture that is beyond Western miseducation.
Yeah.
And the re-education through the music, the re-education through just conversation, the re-education through truisms is going to be what the world, it is what the world is hungry for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad we get to do this. I'm glad we can do it on podcast form. I'm glad to see you can do it through music. Glad to see you do it through your book. You have an amazing book, so beautifully done. What's the name of it? Where
It's
can we find
Kemet.
it?
Oh, I wish I had it.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
like,
put
okay.
it up. Don't worry
Okay.
about it.
It's called Kemet, The Story of Ausar Auset. It's a children's book based on the story of Ausar and Heru Auset. The Great Trinity, right? The Great Trinity. Well, that's where it came from. So, I wrote it in poem form for my daughter, who's now 19. But I wrote it. I wrote it for her. It was just me, just telling her the story of Ausar Auset in my way, in my poetic way. And it sparked into this wonderful book that I was like determined to bring this to young black, kids everywhere or children, with our lineage.
You know, I've been seeing a lot.
What?
White girls with unks.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly white women. I haven't seen on a white dude yet. White women with unks is becoming more popular, like tattoo unks.
Oh, okay.
And I be shocked sometimes. I'm like, what? Anyways, but
I mean,
but they needed to. Everybody needed.
So I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Holy Trinity.
it's That'd be crazy. But what I want to say is I want to end like this, because willingly your next project is called Truisms. All right. Give us one truism that you think can help people get out of this pandemic or epidemic of anxiety. If there's a truism that somebody can hold on to, a truth somebody can hold on to when they reach that panic, and it's like, oh, remind yourself.
Does it have to be an Ausarian truism?
No.
It could that I create.
I think because God is speaking, living, breathing through us, whatever your truth is an Ausarian truth. So, I know there's doctrine, but I know that we are divine beings, so God it's a living thing. So,
right.
So your truth is divine too. So what's the truth?
So anxiety, right? You have everything within you that you need to transcend any emotion that comes your way. You have the power to transcend anything. You just have to tap into that source. You are not powerless. That's the thing. People look at themselves and they say, okay, I'm powerless over this emotion. I'm powerless because this has a hold on me and I can't move past this. But understanding your power, understanding that, no, like, God is the ocean. I am a drop of that ocean. Like, I am powerful, not powerless.
That's an amazing truism.
Yeah.
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 Well, Sharaka, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we did it. We did it. We did it.
I receive my divine sign.